All right, episode 42 is underway, and today we're going to talk about, are you creating enough content? Are you struggling to come up with topics to talk about? Today we're going to talk about how we come up with content ideas so that we're always able to get content out to the consumers, as well as we're going to talk about, are your vendors helping or hurting your business? And then we're going to wrap it up with how we're finishing up the last 6 weeks of the year. We're going to get started right now.
Welcome to the only real estate podcast worth listening to, with your hosts Nick Good, Matt Kelderman, and Brian Force. Combined, they have 26 years of experience and have sold over 1,500 homes. Join them each week as they bring you everything you need to know about real estate. And now, here are your hosts, Nick, Matt, and Brian.
I'm just going to let you go and hum it away.
The song's so catchy.
It super is, dude. Gets stuck in my dreams sometimes.
All right, episode 42.
42.
If you're loving episode 42, like we are,
This
today
is
we're
Jackie Robinson episodes. This is going to be
right.
groundbreaking.
We're going to have to retire this episode right after this. So this is the only time you can hear it. But maybe you're struggling to get some listings. I know we're not.
I was going to say, I know we're not.
No, we're not. I was going to say, I know Brian
I know
is.
we are. That's why we went to this.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know we were until we went over to the Take 10 Plus Listings webinar.
Yeah.
So you go to touracademy.com/take10, TEN. So what you're going to learn over there on that webinar, first off, you're going to learn where we're getting our listing leads. You're going to learn how we are talking to sellers, how we're setting appointments, and how we're converting them at a high level and taking 10 plus listings every single month. Come on, people.
All of
You
them.
heard.
All the months, we're taking 10 plus listings.
All the months of the years.
So if you're struggling to get sellers and you're wanting to get more signs in the yard and sell more houses, go over to touracademy.com/take10TEN. Go sign up for the webinar and then go sign up for Tour Academy. It's $1.
$1.
So let's go ahead and start today's show.
I told you before the show that we'd talk about this before. I didn't want to forget. You were reading the post in Lab Coat.
I think it was in Lab Coat.
Agents from Tarek El Moussa, the dude from Flipper Flop, right? No. Flipper Flop?
I think it's Flip or Flop.
Yeah. And it's like something about how he's going to be going live in Lab Coat Agents or whatever, and he introduces who he is. The post originally said, "Hey, my name is Tarek El Moussa, or whatever. I'm a celebrity real estate investor," so on and so forth. And he did the whole bit. The first comment was, "Celebrity real estate investor sounds like the turbo douchiest thing you could ever say." And then that same thing popped to my feed a few hours later, and he had taken out that part because he just started getting slammed for putting it that way. It warmed my heart a little bit.
But if you were the star of that show, would you? Just,
I certainly would hope that.
would.
I would hope that other people would describe. Dude, if I was Brad Pitt, I wouldn't describe myself as a celebrity. That's just the douchiest thing.
I
you
think
can
Brian would enter the room being like, "I am a celebrity real estate agent, Brian Force."
That's how he enters every room.
Yeah.
He just pauses at the door.
Yes.
do. So every room I go into, and the people are like, "Can I take your order?" I'm like, "Have you not seen the only real estate podcast worth listening to? You should know what I want."
I will say that I did a panel today put on by one of the vendors we all know, the Inspection House.
Yep.
There's a couple of people that had come up to and said they really loved the show. So Guy Arnold, that was one of them, as well as Scotty Smith, who is the broker owner of Realty One, who did not know that we started the only real estate group worth being a part of.
He didn't know.
He didn't.
That means we've not invited all of our friends yet.
I thought we were completely tapped out on potential.
He wasn't my friend yet until today, so I just added him. But he was already in that group.
How's everybody else handle that?
Oh, he knew the group.
He knew the
He didn't
group.
know that we were
He didn't know
behind it.
either one that created
That's
it.
more of
Nice.
an indictment of us. We're not involved enough in the group anymore.
We need to be more involved in our own group. If you're the kind of person who sends me a friend invite and then asks me to like your business page 30 seconds later, I'm 100% unfriending you.
Man, do
Except
I
that
not
we're
like
going to
you.
do it. We're going to send you to like the only real estate group worth being a part of.
I go through my friends list like every 60 days and invite my friends to all of the shenanigans that we do.
Yeah.
Like I try to. Now, if I accepted your friend request that day specifically, I'm like really sorry.
Yeah,
Most
I
of
mean,
the time.
if it's just a timing thing, that's. I'm going to go leave you a bad review first. I'm going to be like, this guy friended me just to get me to like his bullshit business page. All these other 5-star reviews are probably garbage.
Can you remove reviews? No?
You used to on Facebook. So
Yeah.
you used to be able to remove the bad reviews or reviews in general. You could delete them. That was in the beginning.
Yeah.
Not that I would know about that because I don't get bad reviews.
We
Leave
had
mine
one
up.
got removed off Google somehow.
I think the person removed that.
They probably just wised up. They probably had a moment of clarity. It was someone we hadn't worked with. It was somebody that got a text message from us that wasn't expired, and they blamed every person who had ever called them on us. And they're like, "These people call me 75 times a day," and I'm like, "We don't even have the capacity to do that." I think they finally woke up one day and they're like, "Man, that's kind of a mean thing to do."
I was at the front desk the other day when somebody had to take a phone call, and it was just literally a person who's like, "You guys leased me a house, and I don't know how to get a hold of the landlord." And it was just like, "What the hell is happening here?" It's like, "You guys who? Keller Williams. Keller Williams leased you a house, and you don't know who your landlord is? Like, what? How do you get through the day without accidentally walking into traffic? If that is the kind of human being you are, I don't understand it."
That's
So on Jackie Robinson's episode 42 today, we're going to talk about how we are creating content, right? So that we're always able to come up with ideas, how we're able to deploy them so that we can stay in front of, anybody, right? And the reason why we want to talk about this today, one is we literally were 30 minutes before the show started, and we're doing some new intros that it's going to look, Derek is going to make it look badass.
Super cool.
That's coming. So coming soon to a show near you.
Do content creation.
Yeah,
That's-
new content.
Yeah.
We started that.
That's one of them.
But I wanted to talk about this or bring it up, and you guys are doing the taco review. You're doing a lot of other things. And when I opened up my iPhone podcast app, I screenshot and put it in the Facebook group that they're now beta testing that the audio is now becoming searchable.
I think that's crazy.
That is so nuts, dude. I mean, I get it. It's one of those things where, like, when it actually happens and it's like a year old, we'll look back and be like, of course.
Yeah.
It just sounds crazy right now, but if you tried to explain what an iPhone was to, like, a person from the like, you wouldn't even... You have to explain what so many other things were first for them to even have a chance of comprehending it, right?
It'd be like trying to explain a Walkman to a kid right now.
Yeah, it just wouldn't make any sense. So, I mean, I get that. Like, it sounds crazy, but at the same time, it's kind of like, yeah, of course.
Which to me, it sounds like I'm surprised it hasn't already been there yet.
Yeah, like my phone already recognizes my eyeballs.
They just had to get to a point where they had enough people saying the same words enough to where they could teach computers how to listen to it. We're just there now.
Well, and it comes down to, so I was watching. There was a little tip that I don't know if you guys know about.
Just
That
the
we're gonna yes, just the tip. It's a game. Everybody wins in that game. But I was watching somebody that talked about, you go on Facebook Live, and then when it's over, you go and edit it, right? And then I think you have to do it through your business page. I don't know if you can do it on your personal page. So maybe we can test it out on this afterwards. But you go edit it, and you can turn on captioning immediately.
Oh, you can.
So like the stat was like 80% of people watch video on silent.
Sure. Think how many times you've accidentally... I mean, I do it sometimes when we start this show, like when I put it on to share it out to places, and I got my volume cranked all the way up and it starts blaring into the mic.
A bunch of times.
Imagine doing that like in the grocery store.
Right.
You know?
Especially this show when Brian's talking about just the
I
tip.
did it in the post office one time. I clicked on, this was years ago, and I clicked on a Facebook video, and it was one of those bits where it was like, it's supposed to be like a video of like Justin Bieber trying to fight a paparazzi guy, and I was like, oh, that looks insane. And then you turn it on, the sound is just pouring, and it was full volume in the post office, and I just had to eat it right there. I just had to I had to mail my package still. So I couldn't fucking leave. You know?
No, show your phone to and be like, no, I got tricked.
Yeah, this is not, look, it's Bieber fighting a dude. That's just what they sound like. And it was not a short post office line. So I was there for a while after that.
Did you at least finish watching the video?
Oh, yeah, I finished.
Of course.
So coming up with ideas. I mean, look, we're 42 shows in on this, and let's be real and transparent. We struggle to continue coming up with new relevant content rather than, if we go back and probably listen to the first 30 shows of this, it's all freaking mindset talk and motivation talk, right? So it's like, all right, how do we transfer that into our business and trying to say, all right, what do consumers want to hear? How are we coming up with topics and content day in and day out so that we can stay top of mind?
And I think for us, all right, so when we talk about creating content, when Matt and I talk about this a lot in our, I didn't cancel our training event for tomorrow. Whatever. Oh, I sent Nigel, remind me. Matt and I talk about this in our live events a lot, right? Like when we talk about creating content, we encourage people that when you're growing a real estate business, everybody says this, and I feel like not a lot of people practice it. Like Kyle Draper preaches this all the time. Like do 4 to 1, right? Like 4 things about you, 1 thing about real estate, and like people understand that, but then they struggle to really come up with things that aren't about real estate when that's really all people want to see, right? Like the market updates aren't all that good usually, right? The reality is it's way easier to develop relationships with people by creating content that they genuinely like engaging with, and make you somebody that they find likable, and then try to sell them real estate than it is to just create content that's all about real estate and develop relationships with them that way, right? Because it's not all that engaging usually. Like we started with taco videos, right? And literally the way that we came up with that was like, we are going to start a YouTube channel this Friday. We've been saying it for a month. We have to make a video today. And so we literally Googled like what's best. We did like best Dallas on YouTube, and it was like best tacos Dallas. We're like, boom, we're doing tacos. And like the reason we did that is because all we wanted was eyeballs. We just wanted people to watch our videos, right, and watch our content. And we knew that at some point, if we just got people to follow what we were doing, like something good would happen and we'd figure it out, right? Like I wouldn't say don't go into it without a plan, right? But also don't go into it with the master plan either, right? Like go into it, understand that you're trying to having a vision for it, but not being pigeonholed on exactly what we're trying to do. Like we knew that our plan going into it was, if we create content that will get people to watch, we will be able to do something with that. Let's start there and create something that people will enjoy watching, right? We did that, right? Or I said we're in the process of doing that, but it has gone as well or better than we could have possibly imagined, right? Like our taco videos are freaking notorious now. It's stupid, right? More popular than they deserve to be. But from that, we've started to really hash out the real direction of what our content creation is becoming now. What it's becoming now is us contributing to local businesses by doing videos in conjunction with them, in partnership with them, and then it helps us network with the owners and leaders of those businesses, and then we go out and create more content with them. So we do like a restaurant review, but then we'll also get to know the owner, and we'll go do something completely different with the owner and have fun with the owner, talk business with the owner, but we're also doing, playing fucking paintball or something like that. You know what I mean? And so it creates this network of advocates for us, because we're genuinely trying to contribute to help build their business and their brand. And it makes engaging content that shows local professionals and entrepreneurs in a different light than just being about their business, right? We didn't know that was what it was going to become whenever we started, but we also knew it was going to become something, and the only reason it became anything was because it started.
And let's talk about the thought process around what content actually is, too. Long before Brian and I were doing taco videos and other stuff like that, I was taking pictures of silly or pretty things I saw in houses, right? Not people's personal stuff. But, you see a really old pencil sharpener in a garage or whatever, or you see a lot of people don't know that there's a downdraft on the stove sometimes, that you hit a button and the little draft thing comes up and then it goes back down. Record that for 10 seconds and put it on there, right? Like some of your content creation doesn't have to be anything other than the stuff you find interesting throughout your day as well.
That's what, dude, people would way rather see stuff like that than you do a 60-second, like, here's what's going on in the market. People like the interesting stuff in real estate.
Yep.
The market updates are just, in my opinion, fillers. Right?
I think you do this when you already have eyeballs from the other stuff.
100%.
Absolutely. And so, the main thing when it comes to this is I mean, you talked about it with the taco stuff. Like you went on YouTube, right, or Google the best things in Dallas came up with tacos. So what I do, I go on YouTube and I just start looking at housing related topics that get a lot of engagement or a lot of views, and I'm like, all right, I want to do something like that. So my last video that is probably, I think it's getting sent out this week, I did one on multi-generational housing.
Okay.
Right? Not that I really care about that, except that Heather and I were considering buying a house where my mother-in-law already lives with me.
Right.
We were considering buying a house and moving my parents in.
Okay.
Right? So it comes down to all right, these are the things that concerned me, so let me let me project my viewpoints on what should you do if you're looking at buying or building a multi-generational home.
Yep.
Right? And my stuff is still boring. In my opinion, like I'm standing, just like in this studio right now, there's these things on the wall that help buffer sound out. I have that stuff in my office.
Yeah.
I just stand in front of a camera right now. Right now, it's just producing content. I'm standing in front of it. There's a little editing. I use Fiverr for $20. They put a little graphic down at the bottom, and then I insert images in there so that it changes. It does a pattern disrupt. It's not just looking at my face while I'm talking the whole time.
I think people would be. This is a fun exercise to do. Go to like whatever your favorite YouTube channel is, aside from ours. And go to videos and then filter by oldest to newest. You'd be amazed at the way some of the people started.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like just shit that you follow that's got millions of followers. Go look at like the oldest videos they posted. And if you can do that and like look at those and be like, wow, they've got 5 million subscribers now. Like you'd be blown away half the time.
And here's the other thing about the content creation. This is just coming from my personal poking around experience on what we've done. Don't worry about monetizing YouTube. Right? Like Brian and I's Undoubtedly Dallas YouTube page is never going to have enough followers for YouTube to be like, hey guys, we'd like to write you a check because you do such amazing B2B reviews around DFW. We are legitimately just trying when people Google stuff and then inside of our own sphere to get all of those eyeballs. We just want to capture the eyes of everybody who's currently in our world. And it'll reach as far as it reaches. And if we make something really funny, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's not about monetizing YouTube. It's not about... I honestly, Brian, I don't really know how to quantify what we're making off of it yet.
We know that people know about it and we hear about it and they talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and we blast it out to our database. It's all over social media. Like,
So, and that's the thing. So, again, the panel I was on today, someone was talking about, or maybe it was yesterday, talked about how do you get an ROI from it. I said, I don't think you can. It's kind of like billboard, right? In television and radio. Yes, there are specific ways you can track that. But at the same time, if someone watches a television commercial and then hears your radio ad and then all of a sudden they get a flyer in the mail, but the flyer is the one that prompted it, which one did it?
yeah.
Right? Was it the flyer?
Yeah.
Or was it the radio or the television commercial?
Right.
So on this one, what we're using YouTube for, or even this podcast, we're going live. Then we replay it, then we comment on it, right? And it just stays top of mind. So just like on your taco stuff, I'm assuming you do send that out to your database every time.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Once a month.
We do it once a month.
Right.
So we'll send like a link with the 4 that we've done that
Yeah.
month or whatever. Yeah. So we do it once a month. Gary V, my best friend, who I just love dearly. He had a video one time that I actually think made a lot of sense. And he was saying he was meeting with some CEO of some company, marketing company, and that lady kept being like, well, what's the return on investment you can expect from like a social media strategy or this and this? And he's trying to be like, we can't, it's tough to measure, blah, blah, so on and so forth. She kept pushing and pushing. He's like, tell me this, what's the return on investment of your own mother? And he was, and he's trying to explain, he's like, I can't tell you what exactly my mother did to make me a genuinely happy or compassionate person or have good manners or like good core values. He's like, I just do because she raised me. And that's same with social media. Like, I can't tell you exactly which piece of content, or not just social media, content creation in general, right? I can't tell you which piece of content you're going to see that's going to resonate with you, right? Or which piece of content is going to cement in your mind who I am or who we are, so that you recognize us in the real world, or see us, or you recognize us when you see us on a different platform or something like that. But you create the content so that raises your chances of that happening regardless,
Yep.
right? Like, yeah, if you're dumping thousands and thousands a month into Facebook advertising or something like that, we measure our paid advertising. That does have a specific return on investment. Now it's a long time horizon, but we can measure that. But as far as like organic content creation, like videos and things like that, you should be doing it consistently because you know it works, not because you're getting a 4-to-1 investment or return on investment or something like that. Like that's not a real measurable metric.
When it lives forever. I
Yeah.
mean, I just had a video all of a sudden pop up. It was a live one that I put on YouTube, and I was with my lender, Michael DeBacker, who we were doing talking about down payment programs, et cetera, right?
Yeah.
And I put that on in September of 2018, and then all of a sudden it grew legs this past, like it's 400, I think 350, 400 plus views.
Really?
It's getting comments on there. We're getting people signed up to the website and saying, I just watched that video. I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Right? We didn't do anything different.
Right.
Right? So you can make that can live and continue producing for you, maybe a small amount.
Right.
But you've already put the work in. At least put it out there and then use ways to capture.
And you just said something I think is really important too. Like, let's just not get caught up in view count, right? If you're getting engagement, people are commenting, and people are coming to your website because of it, that's all you need to worry about. We don't even post our content. We don't share it anywhere. All the raw footage goes on all the different platforms. We don't worry about views or any, like, it's designed to do the most it can do on each individual platform, and that's all it is, right? But we get so caught up in view counts. I do that too. I go and look at some of these views some of these people have, and I'm like, what in the hell? Like, he posted that 3 hours ago, and it's already been watched 2,000 times. Like, what in the hell? Right? But it just doesn't translate, I don't think, at all.
What about Instagram getting rid of the likes and hearts and everything?
I'm just so confused why Facebook and Instagram seem to want to shoot themselves in the foot. Like, as the younger demographic moves away from your platforms, why are you shooting yourself in the foot by making it harder and harder for the people who are actively using it to make money to continue to make money? It makes no sense.
There's something up their sleeve for the future, but I don't know what it is. I can't conceptualize it yet, but I think you're 100% right. I think that was a terrible move.
I'll tell you right now, I got 3 nieces and a son, all under 10 years old, and they are on TikTok. And as annoying as those apps were,
I just downloaded it.
Bro, I will
We've
tell
been
you.
talking about that for a while.
I just downloaded. I don't know what to do with it.
I go over to my mom's house on Sunday after, God bless her soul, she keeps all those kids, and they're like, we've been shooting TikTok videos. And I'm like, you guys, I'm so annoyed by all of you right now.
Jay Kenner's doing it. Like, all of a sudden I see Jay on it, and then he's uploading it to Instagram. I'm like, dude, what the heck? Like,
people are on it, man.
I mean, AK just made a comment in here, and AK's doing video at a high level.
He is, man, and he's 100% right.
Yeah,
you know.
He talked about on here, content creation can also be looked at as a form of prospecting. If you hate cold calling, start pushing out content to attract clients in. I feel like a lot of agents don't look at it from that perspective. So I agree with that, but at the same time, that's a long-term play.
It's a long-term play, and it takes a lot of consistency, which he's starting to realize. He's starting to really get business out of it and stuff. So, but he's been doing it for a while. You know, you got to have a strategy behind it, and you've got to have the same discipline you would about lead generation. Here's the thing. If you really don't like prospecting or lead generation, I guarantee you're going to run into a wall at some point where you don't like making videos every day either.
100%. I don't look there's stuff we were ripping along for a little bit. My mom actually told me today, she's like, are you guys still shooting video? I haven't seen anything from you in a while. I'm like, we're still putting out like 2 videos a week. There was just a point where we were cranking out like 4.
Dude, yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
And it does get to be overwhelming, and depending on what you're budgeting for it and what you're going for and what your long-term play is. You know, Brian said earlier, you don't need to have it all planned out, but you need to have an idea. I will tell you, when we shot the first taco video, we didn't think, now what, we're probably 20 videos into that page, maybe, probably not even. I didn't think we'd be doing what we're doing now, right? Like, and that only took 4 months. Like, it's going to change dramatically, but we had the idea of where we were taking the page from the very beginning.
Well, you had to get the start going, right? So you got to get the start. That's the number one thing, is get that action. You know, go with the action and then make it consistent. So you made it consistent, and then you've made it better.
Just about that action, boss.
Right?
We cuss so much less now.
We do it on the podcast too. It's kind of sad. It makes me feel fucking old.
I knew he was going to drop one in there for us.
It had to be. I mean, who was the first one? We should go back and see who the first one was to cuss on the show.
I guarantee it was
Original
6
sin.
minutes into the first episode. There's no way we made it more than 10 minutes without cussing.
Are we talking about the first episode?
The very first one in the garage. The very first one.
Yeah,
in the
but
garage.
people were drinking.
I think it was 30 seconds. I'm telling you, there's no
wasn't long.
way it was 6 minutes.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of transition this into the vendor side of things. And I know that
This is just going off raw energy and passion.
This
right
is.
now.
There's a lot of deals just like, what in the hell's
We're
happening
like,
here?
what do we
right
want to
now?
talk about?
this is
today?
content
Like,
creation 101, right? This was not on our agenda today, but I listened to Brian he put his agent on speakerphone, and they're having this deal go a little haywire right now with a shitty loan officer. Let's just put it for what it is, right? So tell the story, Brian, because this is not my deal.
No, I mean, and in the interest of keeping it kosher, I won't dive too deep into the details, but basically there was a deal on the rocks. It is one of several that are on the rocks for us right now, and very easily could be assuaged and probably put back together pretty gracefully with a couple of conversations from a vendor partner to the other side. And that is not happening. It is not only not happening, it's just it's this vendor partner is acting like we're imposing on them by even asking them to be involved in the transaction in that manner, which is insanity. And like I said, it's one of several that we have going on right now where that type of thing is happening. The bottom line is this, right? When you start to operate at a little bit higher level and you're doing more transactions, a couple things happen, right? The more transactions you have on the board, the more transactions could potentially fall apart for you, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's basic, right? Your vendors should be working to keep deals together or to make deals easier or to provide the same type of service and client experience as you are. If they are not, they will eventually take money right out of your pocket. And that is such a shitty feeling. No matter what stage of your business you're at, when you've got a few deals, like we've probably got 3 right now that could come off the board this month, that's thousands of dollars out of our agents' pockets because of vendors just not being as committed as we are to getting things done. And that is just crazy to me.
I realized really early on in my career that having the right partners lined up was going to be huge. And I think we underestimate that too much. You know, we have a lot of people, Nick has it too, that come into our world as newer agents and they don't have that portfolio of good qualified, vendors set up.
Nope.
Here in Texas, like trying to find a plumber whose aces is like trying to find a unicorn under a leprechaun. Like there's 6 of them, right? Like, so it's hard. But I think especially when it comes to the lending side specifically, the part of the transaction that has to be. Please don't get wooed by who takes you to the most lunches, right? Like,
exactly what I was about to say.
Stephanie Johnston, my preferred lender.
And by the way, let's make it be known that this is not your preferred lender.
Oh, no, not at all. This was a buyer who brought their own lender to the table and wouldn't have a conversation with ours. Yeah.
Both of our buyer deals right now that are going haywire, they brought in their own lender. Yeah. And one of, honestly, mine that's going haywire, very candidly, the lender has put about 4 people to lose tens of thousands of dollars just by not properly doing some stuff that should have been done weeks ago, right? Yeah. And I think all that, and of course now we call in our aces and ask them to come in and clean up the mess and try and fix it, and sometimes they can and sometimes they can't. And for us, I was very fortunate early on to have Stephanie Johnston come along as part of a transaction where the buyer was already bringing her into the transaction. And she already had a much more established business than I did, but her business has grown. My business has grown in the past 6 years. But now she's a partner I know I can go to for anything. Right, and I think it's really important to have those vendor relationships.
And I know that Stephanie would do things to make, even if she was taking a little bit of a loss on one deal, because she knows the long-term play.
Yep.
Right.
You need people that are going to want to grow your business and know that you're going to help grow theirs on a long time horizon. Exactly.
Sometimes you have to break even on things.
That's
right?
such a good point you made. Her like so actionable advice, right? When you're talking about how do I find the right vendor partners, right? If you're getting, we're always going to be approached by people that want our business. Just don't fall in the trap of the dude who takes you to lunch and tells you about, this and that they can do. When you get approached with what does a lender need to do, or not, it's any vendor. What does a vendor need to do to partner with you in your business? You need to ask them one question. That's it. What are you going to do when the shit hits the fan?
Yep.
And how do I know that I can count on you to be as committed to this as I am? It's going to tell you everything you need to know.
I would even ask for examples of that, because here's the thing.
Yeah.
Because you asked me that question, and I'd be like, I would tell you what I think you want to hear. Versus, let's give me some specific stories on that or examples. Because you talk about the lenders that take you to lunch. I can go back specifically, and I had met Stephanie a long time ago, so I'd known Stephanie for a while. But Brent Hicks, right? I wasn't looking for a lender. I was introduced
friend
to
of the show.
Yeah, great friend. On the show, episode whatever.
20s, probably.
Yeah,
something.
in the 20s. But when we sat down at Starbucks, he gave a gift, right? And it was a book called The Go-Getter, right? And talked about how if we partner together, his job is to help increase our referral business together from deals that we've already closed.
That's the Go-Giver, isn't it?
Go-Giver. Yeah, Go-Giver.
I didn't mean to be a dick and correct you.
It's all right. It's a little red one.
Just want to make the show notes. Make sure the show notes are right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian, when you're doing the show notes, make sure to get that right. So, but the rest of these lenders are just wanting to take them out to to Sizzlers and just make sure that you're.
What is this, Happy Gilmore? He's Shooter McGavin taking him to the Sizzler.
I'm just setting it up for Brian's movie review.
Is there? Yeah, exactly.
Is there Sizzlers around here?
I don't even know if that's a company that's still in business.
I saw Sizzlers right by LAX the other day.
Oh, really?
So I know they're still out there. I don't know if it's open.
Is that close to the airport? I got to
There's
imagine
a
that's prime location.
building where there was a Sizzler at some point.
It's like Ponchos.
Bro, I'll raise that Mexican flag for more flautas with cheese all day long.
Would you?
Hell yeah. bro.
Are they still in business?
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Jawad Dashti is keeping him in business
We'll
single-handedly.
need to do a tour mastermind at Ponchos so you can raise the flag.
I've been doing it for years, bro.
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, that was something that when I heard that call today, I'm like, dude, and you were like, vendors are either going to make you money or they're going to cost you money.
It's just, you got to find people that are committed like you are, man, because it will come back to bite you.
That's every aspect of your business too, man. There's just any time that and you have to understand as a real estate agent, you're kind of the gatekeeper to the lead for the most part. I mean, if you really sit down and do a real audit of where your business comes from, you're not going to see title rip, inspector, insurance guy, credit repair guy, lender. They're not sending you business. You are sending them business, right? Like they need to have a certain. And like here's the other thing I would very, very candidly, you get one minor screw up, but if you ever completely implode a deal due to your own incompetence, there's not a second chance, dude. There's just not.
There be? There's just too many good.
And it's how they
professionals
make
out
you
there.
look in front of your clients. Like, you know, I'll give my wife credit. I mean, she doesn't close my business, you know, conflict of interest, but I see how she helps close with the other agent's business. I'm like,
She crushes it for us.
She crushes it.
I'm
in
like,
mine, man.
she will learn the what the buy, like what the clients are wanting and give gifts based on, you know, based on their what they really are into.
Yeah.
And it's like, who does that make that person look good in front of? That's making the agent look good.
Sure.
Exactly.
And it's like, you know, it's like, all right, that's what I want on my team.
I think
100%.
it's really important to almost their bedside manner, right? People who are in front of clients, how do they respond to the clients is a big thing. And then what do they do when you have an outstanding or an abnormal situation, right? Title, for instance, sending a mobile notary when you got somebody, you know, just
dude.
like knowing that the really great thing that I think agents don't ever get an opportunity to realize because some of them aren't in the business long enough or some of them don't have a consistent enough business to really do this. When I've got a buyer deal and it's got my transaction coordinator, my lender, and the title company I like to use on it, that is the most grease deal ever.
I don't
bro.
have to do anything.
You're like your actual dollar per hour goes through the roof when you have the right vendor partners because you just don't have to babysit those deals the same way.
Yeah. You know, 9 times out of 10, it's a done deal.
Yeah.
Right? You just show up to closing and who looks good? You do.
Exactly. I love it.
So Rachel Tex Carter says she loves it. Ask for examples. Loves that. It's like a job interview.
It is a
Absolutely,
job
it is a
interview.
job interview, right? So 100%. You're 100% on that. Like this is a job interview, and we need to be quick to fire those people if they're going to screw the deal up.
Yep.
Because look, if you start costing me money, that's when we have problems.
I have no patience for that. I have no patience for that. It's too hard in this industry to procure a transaction. If you really think about the amount of time that you put in from whether you're a seasoned agent who now has business rolling in, you've done some of that work on the back end and spent money for those systems to set that up to where that business comes in, or you're an agent who still has to grind for every single deal. You've put in way too much time. Dude, I'm not even kidding you. The lender on this deal of mine legitimately sent an email the day of closing bowing out. Like the lender just quit on the
This
deal.
concludes my involvement in the transaction.
It was just like,
Wait, what?
you guys are on your own. I'm like, bro, we're supposed to close. Like, what in the hell is happening? Like, there's no accounting for the like sheer just
big gulps.
Yeah, just ridiculousness. But that person's not going to be out of business tomorrow. There are other people who are going to go to that person thinking that they have a clue what they're doing.
That was
Right?
nonsense.
It's just that. I mean, I'm telling you, hundreds of transactions and never seen anybody just walk out on it.
walk
Especially
away.
the lender.
Oh, God. It's been a weird week. Speaking
been a
of
weird
weeks, we got 6 left until the end of the year. What are you boys up to?
I'm going to go to the Tour Academy webinar. So if you're struggling to take listings, so this is a commercial break, by the way. So if you need to go
Dun, dun,
compete.
dun, dun.
So if you're struggling to take listings, convert listings, meet more sellers, if you want to take 1, 2, 3, 5 listings every
10,
single month,
10.
we're taking 10.
We're taking, but you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. I mean, if you just want to add a few more listings into your arsenal there, go to touracademy.com/take10. I don't even know why I blanked out on that. Take 10, TEN. Sign up for the webinar. You're going to learn about where we're generating our listing leads, how we're talking to these sellers, how we're converting them, how we're setting the appointment, how we're qualifying them on the phone before we're running that appointment to set us up for the highest success rate. So go over there. touracademy.com/take10.
I feel so bad for Derek having to try to time out when to put that graphic in there with your choppy ass delivery.
He just puts it up there. Why is he moving it around? Just put it up there.
He's like, yeah.
I wish he would put it up there so I can see it, so I'm not like,
Juke move. We're a little delayed on our cameras.
That's all right. That's all right.
Oh, my gosh.
So last 6 weeks, I'm just taking the year off. I'm done.
Okay, I'm done.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well,
As of Wednesday next week, I'm not going to do anything else until the end of the year.
You guys sound like most of the industry.
I
This
know.
is.
I just want to see what it's like.
This is so. Here's what I'll say. Right. If you think that you are going to have a better year next year than you did this year, but you are not going to work after Thanksgiving, you are wrong, and you will probably not make it in this business.
But I wrote it on my goals list.
I know that sounds.
No, it's in
Isn't
there.
that crazy?
No, it's in there.
It's
Yeah.
crazy that we go to business planning. We do our business planning late October, and we're like, here's my deals for 2020. Here's where they're going to come from. Here's what I'm doing. All right, Thanksgiving, and then we're done for 6 weeks. Like, it's insanity, dude. Like, we don't get revved up until, like, January 7th. It's crazy, man. No, for the next 6 weeks, I'm going to be working my ass off because nobody else is.
I'm going to be pounding my database with spring nurtures.
That's got to be what it is,
I
man.
had 3 in today in just an hour.
It's so easy, and there's scripts for it. Hey, just giving you a call. I know it's almost the end of the year. What are your 2020 or what does your 2020 involvement in the real estate market look like?
Yep.
You looking to buy, sell, invest? Do you know anybody who is? Right? Like, yeah, you may not be doing a ton of transactions in December if you haven't built that pipeline, but give yourself the opportunity to do a ton next year by using the next 6 weeks as an opportunity to build your pipeline, your database, your nurtures, all the people that you're going to do deals with in 2020. You could already have talked to them by now.
Yep.
So I've got my 2018. I did this. This was for 2019. My GPS
Okay.
right here, right? So it doesn't say on here take off. So I actually can't take off this year, but I'm going to put it in for next year.
Okay, there you go.
So I'm actually not taking off. No, but it's building it out, right? So I mean, I talked about this today at the inspection house panel where I'm now wanting to hoard as much data as I can in terms of potential clients. Like we're generating almost 400 plus Facebook leads every single month. And yes, that's a little, we still have low conversions on that, but I now see that as an opportunity to I'm inviting them to our client events. So, you have this Saturday.
Yeah, we've been doing good on our invites.
How many
too.
people do you have?
We have 80 families coming right now.
Love
which
it.
is not bad. We've
I
got
love
to
it.
get up to 100 by the end of the week.
And what
I
we're
think.
talking about is Brian and Matt implemented in their business on a short notice. They're doing photos with Santa. Is it Santa or just
Holiday photos.
No.
Santa's not coming.
Oh.
He's coming to our next event on December 7th.
Yeah.
He's going to be there.
So you're
But this
doing
Saturday
2 of them?
Yeah, we're doing 2 of them.
Okay, so
Yeah.
2 of them. So we've implemented. We squeezed one more in. We're doing photos with Santa.
Nice.
We'll have to share out. I think there's already 100 plus people RSVP'd for that.
Nice.
But that's where I see the opportunity.
Yeah.
How can I attract more and more contact,
Yep.
information? And someone said, where are you generating leads? I said, well, what's the definition of a lead?
Yeah, generate leads
Tell
from
me
all
what
over
the
the
definition
place.
of a freaking lead is. If you're giving me your email and your phone number, or one of those, or a combination of either one of those, all right, then I'm going to try to invite you to an event. I'm going to try to invite you to watch my videos, right?
Yep.
That's what 2020 is going to be all about.
It's not about how many leads you have. It's what you're doing with them, how you're nurturing them. The events are a huge fucking thing, right? You can legitimately, in this day and age, just generate leads from Facebook or wherever your digital marketing is by just writing a check. And they're only going to be worth anything if you go and do something with it. Like, the events are awesome. You should be inviting everybody that's in your database to your
Everybody.
events.
It's not even past
Imagine
clients,
you're
man.
generating leads through Facebook, and then you're giving them something of value for the holidays. Like, that's...
By the way, I had 6 community events on here, and I'm squeezing my 6th one in. So that was on my GPS,
Nice.
right? So we missed the mark on sellers. We were going to try to do 40 million this year in sellers. We missed that mark. 20 of it was going to come from expires. We missed the mark. 5 of million was going to come for sale buyers. We missed the mark, right? So it's kind of like the goals list. I was talking to Elizabeth Austin on this, where she went back and looked at her goals from 3 years ago. She had like 22 of them written down. She had achieved 11 of them already.
Nice.
Right? And then she said the other remaining ones, she's kind of her mindset on those goals have changed.
Yep.
Right? So it's not like she missed those goals. She's just adapted, and it's like
growing.
no longer a portion of your goals. So if you don't have your GPS on this or where you're going, then how do you know what you're measuring against?
I like that a lot. That's so true.
I've always been terrible about writing my goals down.
I mean, I've been good about it, but I need to revisit them. I like that.
I think
Yeah.
the revisiting part's huge.
Absolutely.
So I carry mine around, right? Because one, I don't remember. First of all, I will forget what I said on this show. I'm glad it's recorded.
Yeah,
Because I'm going to go, I said that?
I will
just
forget
like-
to show up for this show
just
some
like-
days.
And we're eventually going to have Nicole Espinosa on it and address how she copied our Facebook group name. The only short sale
She was
group
watching
being a
earlier.
part of I know she was.
She doesn't care about us at all right now. She is chilling.
She is in Costa Rica?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hey,
playing
she's
with parrots.
watching our podcast on vacation, so
International,
International,
bitches.
yeah.
international.
Yeah, yeah. So we're internationally known and watched, but it's if you're not reviewing these, and I'm going to put this out here for Elizabeth Austin. So tag her in the comments real quick. She was watching earlier. She's going to. We talked about this the other day, where she's going to talk about going live on a weekly basis, reviewing her goals and where she is on a personal and business level.
Yeah.
This is going to be almost like being transparent with a P&L, how much money she wants to make, how much money she wants to divert into an investments. I said, dude, you should go live on that and use it as an accountability tool. Think about that. That makes
I like
it raw.
that, dude, putting that out there.
Yeah, I mean, just look.
I've been trying to do the exact same thing.
You've been going live every day with
It's
your
working.
with your training.
It's kind of embarrassing to go like 3 or 4 days without doing a live video now that I put so many out there. So it actually holds you a lot more accountable.
Yep.
If you have that little ego about you, just admit it and lean into it. Like, I don't like to feel or look stupid. So I started doing these live videos and told everybody I was training for an Ironman, and now I have to do it every day.
I'll tell you right now, the dude, we were having meetings in the office today, and this dude is legitimately on his bike with the little resistance thing, riding his bike in the office, sweating on our floor. Like, he was getting that shit in, dude. I can assure you there's no way I would have done that.
I felt like such a big wig asshole.
It's like holding meetings while he's pedaling. He's like so Mark Cubaning everybody.
Somebody give me my juice.
Yeah. It's like, come closer so I can tell you the answer and sweat on you. We're almost done with this show, I think.
So let me ask you guys this.
We're off.
Why doesn't Skynet just send more Terminators?
It's a Terminator Day.
Doesn't make any sense, right? So
How many Terminators do they have?
they
Have to
only
come up with a new one.
they send just one Terminator. In the beginning of the series, the premise is this. Skynet becomes this big corporation, and they build Terminators. And look, I don't know what else they build. They might also build Ethernet cables and like a bunch of other stuff, but mostly Terminators. And then there's a war, right? We know the premise of Terminator. There's a Judgment Day. There's a war. John Connor starts the rebellion. It's badass, and I think that they win eventually, or at least at some point, the rebellion gets far enough that Skynet is like, we got to fucking take care of this John Connor dude because he's highly skilled and he is generating a following. We need to do something about it. So their only chance, or they think that their best course of action is to send a Terminator back in time to kill his mom. There's enough wrong with that for me to not already be a fan of the movie. But they just send the one guy. They're like, why don't we just send one Austrian bodybuilder? And he'll probably fucking... Like, this is supposed to be the dude who creates the rebellion that, like, threatens the entire Skynet corporation or whatever. And they're like, we have a whole army of Terminators. One will probably do it. Why didn't they just send like 500 Terminators back in time and just go to all the Sarah Connors and just murder the shit out of her in public, and then just disappear back in time? Like, that would have barely made
or
the
not even
news.
disappear the robots. Nobody cares.
or not, or stick around and kill a few more people. Skynet doesn't care.
That'd just be a short film then.
I just don't. It doesn't make any sense. And then in the second movie, they're like, all right, we fucked up the first time. Silly us. We've made a slightly better Terminator, and we're going to send one of those. Like, are they trying to conserve resources? Like, are they declaring bankruptcy or something? Like, it's so dumb. If this is going to alter the entire course of history, why not just send everything you got
Maybe
think,
it's because it's from the future
and resources
Skynet's
probably
broke.
got a little scarce.
Yes.
So they're only doing, like you said, Ethernet cables. That's the last one they had.
And then the Terminator. I just thought that computers were more binary than that. Like, if you're gonna send a better robot and he can't even beat the old robot, like that doesn't even make sense. What are you guys building over there? Like,
As he turns into liquid
your
too,
research and development team is on notice.
The R&D team at Skynet's in trouble.
They've got all these fancy new melting Terminators, and they can't even beat this busted old Arnold Schwarzenegger who's been just riddled with bullets for a 2-hour movie already. He's barely hanging on. He's got one arm where the fucking whole flesh came off. And now he's like outsmarting people and stuff. It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
I'm going to go see the new one, though.
I mean, I do love those movies. I
yeah.
love those movies for their entertainment value, but if you think about them for more than a second, it's ridiculous.
Will you do the next one? Will you do it on Short Circuit?
Oh yeah, but I do like that movie too. But I'm sure I could find something wrong with it as well.
I imagine you probably could.
And by the way, this was, I think, the first time that Derek's been on camera.
I know. I saw his face.
that's so much happening. Do it again.
Everybody, that's Derek. He's the floating head voice that
I
comes from
turned the light
abyss.
off back here, and I still look like paper white. So there you go. Enjoy.
It's translucent.
Well, boys,
42. We're going to retire this one, so we don't know how long this is going to be up before we have to take it down.
and we honestly don't know what's going on next week for Thanksgiving. You might see us, you might not. We haven't figured it out yet.
I'm in St. Louis.
Nick's in St. Louis.
If not, I'll take it over, guys.
Yeah, just
Maybe
Derek.
Brian and I will just show up and talk about our favorite Thanksgivings ever.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I don't have any.
I don't really have a lot.
No.
Yeah,
It's not my favorite holiday.
Well,
Derek,
until next week, my friends.
get us out of here.